Now you can sit up straight. Bring your hands by your hips, press your hands down, lengthen up through your side waist and side chest. Move your arm bones back to bring your shoulder blades into your back. Keep this lift in your chest as you release your hands to your thighs and close your eyes. Descend your thighs. With even and equal weight in your two sitting bones. Lengthen up through the front of your body. Pull your abdomen in and up. And then lift your chest up. As you keep your chest lifted, move your arm bones back to bring your shoulder blades a little closer to each other. Balance your head evenly. So for many of you, you'll have to take your chin back slightly. Soften your neck and throat. Release your jaw. Rest your tongue into the base of your mouth. Take slow, even breaths. And then gently open your eyes. Extend your legs out. All right. Come over for child's pose, Ardha Mukha Virasana. So if you have a blanket, if not, just do child's pose. If you have a blanket or a towel, you'll roll it up just a little bit and place it right at the tops of your thighs. If you don't have one, just go into child's pose like you normally would. But if you have one, press your thighs down, come forward. This just creates a little space for your back and softens your front groins. Press your hands down and forward to move your hips back. Soften your neck. Spread your palms. And then if you have the blanket, try to stay low, reach the blanket and pull it out. See if that has helped your groins release a little bit. And when I say groins, I mean the area where the leg meets the hip. So there's front groins, inner groins, outer groins, back groins. All right. Now come up to your hands and knees. Spread your fingers well. All right. So you're either going to do this from your elbows, if wrist pain comes to you, or from just regular downward dog. Tuck your toes underneath, lift your hips high. Press your palms. Press down with the index finger and thumb. Then keep that pressure down with the index finger and thumb and turn your upper arms out. When you turn your upper arms out, you should feel a release come to your neck. And you can try the opposite. If you turn your upper arms in, you'll feel a scrunching in your neck. So keep your upper arms turned out, but your lower arms turned in. And this is kind of a wringing action, like wringing a towel, like W-R-I. So the elbow to the wrist turns in, the elbow to the shoulder turns out. That's also true with the legs. From the knee to the big toe, that turns in. From the knee to the outer hip, that turns out. A little harder to access with the legs because the lower leg does not have the same bone structure as the lower arm. But you can still do it a little. And it gives you something to do while we stay here in downward facing dog. So if you wring your arms and you wring your legs, they'll be stronger, more steady. This is also true if you have your elbows on the floor, by the way. Again, harder to do, but still possible. Move your chest towards your thighs. Get as much length in your spine as possible. Then walk your hands towards your feet and fold forward. Botanasana, forward fold. Stretch the backs of your legs. Lift your quadriceps up. You can still do that same wringing action. Sometimes these are called spirals, but from your knee to your big toe and your knee to your outer hip. So lower leg turns in, upper leg turns out. And then place your hands on your hips, elbows to the ceiling. Inhale, come all the way up. Okay. If you have a wall nearby, we're going to do Supta Padangusthasana series. So you can place your feet at the wall and lie down. If you don't have a wall nearby, then you don't need one. If you have a strap, grab a strap so you can have two straight legs
as you do Supta Padangusthasana. If you don't have a strap, then you can just grab your leg, or possibly if you're very flexible, you can grab your big toe. Lie down, press your feet into the wall if that's available to you. Yeah. Then keep your left leg down. Lift your right leg up. Press your left thigh into the ground. And straighten your right leg as much as possible. If you have a strap, this is all the way. If your leg is in the air, support it in some way. We're working on flexibility a little bit, so. Push your right thigh away from you, but bring the toe towards you. This is another way of saying straighten your leg. But you can also take the outer right hip away from you. So you can take the strap into your left arm and push your thumb into the area where we had the blanket before. So right at the top of the thigh, the front groin, and push that towards the wall or towards the opposite foot. All right. Now keeping the leg straight, bring it as close to your head as it will go. Then you're going to do a little sit up. So press your left thigh down, pull on your right leg, move your abdomen down, and lift your head toward your shin. This will pull the leg in towards you a little bit. So keep that and lie back down. Then hold on with just your right hand and bring your right leg out to the right. If you're flexible, it will be near your shoulder. Either way, your left thigh is staying down. So don't let the left thigh come up. And one of the ways you can do that is to squeeze the right buttock. Another way you can do that is putting a block there, but it works the same. Now, bring the leg back up to center. Hold it with your left hand. Turn your leg all the way across so that it's over to the left. You can turn the foot at the wall or the left leg so the little toe side is down. And then you can take your hand at that top of the hip and push it away from you. That'll give you more space in the abdomen. Then bring your leg back up. Hug your knee in and release it down. Lift your left leg up. All right. So strap or hand, whatever works. Press your right thigh down. Move your left thigh away from you and your toes toward you. And if the leg is close to you or you have a strap, take the strap into your right hand or the leg into your right hand and take your left hand to the crease of the thigh and push the thigh away from you. So the hip crease there, yes. So as the leg comes towards you, the hip moves away from you. Bring the leg as close to your head as you can. Then pull your abdomen down. Pull your leg towards you as you do a little sit up and move your head toward your shin. Then keep any extra you got and lie back down. Keep pushing your right thigh into the floor. Take both sides of the strap into your left hand if you haven't already, or you're holding onto your left leg. Bring the leg over to the side. As you bring your left leg to the left, squeeze your left glute. That'll help you from tilting the hips. The foot is aiming to be in line with the shoulder. Now bring the leg back up. Switch it into the opposite hand. Turn the foot that's on the floor and turn to a twist. Take your left hand, bring it into the crease of your left thigh, and push that thigh away from you towards the opposite foot. All right, come back up to center. Hug the knee in. Release it down. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Roll to your side and come back up. All right, time for some dog splits or standing split. We'll probably do both. So you're going to be a little ways away from the wall. Come into dog pose. Lift one leg up, keeping both hips straight, and walk in. Both hips straight. Both hips straight and both legs straight. All right. Correct. And if you need to come on to blocks for your hands, okay, we're going to do that one too, Kathy, but you could, Kathy K, but you could, actually both Kathys could turn around so that your leg is actually at the wall. Yes. Now lift from the inner thigh. They lift from the inner thigh to keep the hips from turning out. So roll your right hip down if your right leg is lifted. And push yourself closer and closer to the wall. And walk back out.
Lower that leg down. Take a breath. Lift your left leg up. Straighten both legs. And then walk in. Roll your left hip down. Lift from the inner thigh. And then walk forward and lower that leg down. Okay. Come onto your abdomen. And bend your knees. Reach back and grab a foot and bring that foot towards you. So heel towards hip. Push your glutes into the floor, especially the area right where the buttocks meet the thigh. You want to push that area into the floor. Lift your chest, any amount. All right, slowly release that leg. Go to the other side. Bring that leg in. Turn your chest to the front. Push the top of the thigh into the floor. Then bring your foot as close to the hip or even as to the floor as possible. I've seen people whose heels can touch the floor. All right, release that. So this time, if that wasn't enough, you're going to bring your hands in closer to you. So more like cobra pose, botanasana. So first side again, bring the foot in, and then push yourself up. You don't have to push yourself up, but it intensifies the stretch along the front of the thigh. Then lower yourself down and switch sides. Don't forget to squeeze your glute, pushing your hips into the floor. And lower yourself down. Okay, so we're going to go back to that dog split again and see if we can get any closer to the wall. So come up into downward facing dog near a wall. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pick a leg and lift it up. Have your hips facing the floor evenly. And then walk back. See if you maybe get a little closer to the wall. Or just lift the leg a little higher. Walk forward. Lower One leg down, lift the other leg up. Roll the top hip towards the floor. And then maybe walk a little further back than you did before. Walk your hands forward. Lower both feet to the floor. Fold forward in Uttanasana, forward fold. You can grab the opposite elbow and hang down, or you can keep your hands on the floor or on your shins. Stretch your legs. All right. Come back up. Now, one of my favorite forward bends involves a few props. Of course. So your choices are to repeat what we just did, Uttanasana, or step one is to have 2 blocks and a strap. And I put the strap under the blocks and I stand on the blocks. I bend forward and grab the strap and pull myself down. Now, for some of you, this won't be enough. It's not high enough. And not everyone is going to want to do this next one. Not everyone's going to have a chair that's stable enough. This will be interesting. I'm going to do this with the chair back to the wall because I'm on carpet and it's not that stable. All right, so I'm on the chair and I reach down and grab the chair legs and pull myself in. So pick one of those Uttanasanas. You can just grab your feet and pull yourself in. You can, oh, we have one taker for the chair. You don't have to have the chair back to the wall. That's only if you're on carpet. So by pulling yourself in, you get the use of your arms, kind of like we do in Supta Padangusthasana. You use your arms and you get a little more length. All right, release. Slowly come up, especially on the chair, and then come down. All right, so we've been prepping for this pose called Urdhva Prasarita Ekapadasana, which is standing splits. So with my feet together, I bend forward and lift the leg up. Now the tendency is to turn this hip out like this. So I want to keep that hip rolled in. Now you can lift your leg up. I guess I can show this leg by turning the hip out, but then turn it back in. And then there's 2 hand grips. The easier hand grip is the same leg and arm pulling in. The more advanced is opposite leg and arm pulling in. All right, so starting with in Uttanasana with the feet together. Lift your left leg up. And see how high you can lift it. So you can try turning the hip out, and that will help you lift it some. And then turn the hip back down. Keep the leg high. Pull yourself in toward your right leg. And then either with your left hand or your right hand, depending on your balance today, or neither hand, pull yourself in toward your right leg. Like you were doing in Supta Padangusthasana 1, where you were doing that sit-up. All right, lower your left leg down and take a breath. Then lift your right leg up. See how high you can get it. Roll the thigh in. Keep lifting from the back of your right thigh. And then pull yourself down toward your left leg. Then lower your right leg down. Place your hands on your hips. Inhale, come all the way up. All right. Then we're going to do Trikonasana and botanasana and anything else I happen to think of at the time. So I'm going to use blocks. You don't have to. Starting from Tadasana. Quadriceps lifted. Take your shoulders back, move your abdomen back. Been moving my abdomen back for a long time. It still isn't pulled in. Take your arms in front of your chest. Take your arms and legs wide. You don't have to jump, you can step. Turn your right leg all the way out. Move your hips to the left. Take your right hand down. You can bring your hand to your shin. All right. Press your left thigh, your inner thigh, into the outer thigh. So last week I talked about rotating the pelvis and the abdomen to get better in the pose. Today we're going to work on the legs. So pressing the outer left foot down, move the right hip forward, and then bring your hand as low as possible. Keep moving your right hip forward, pressing down with the big toe of the right foot, the heel of the left foot, the outer heel. All right, Kathy with a C, bring your hand to your hip, roll your shoulder back, take your arm out like this, turn your palm up, and now roll your shoulder back, yeah? And then bring it up. That's better. All right, press through your left foot, inhale, come up. Change sides. Shift your hips to the right, down you go. Press the outer right foot. Lift from the inner right thigh to the outer right thigh. And then move the left hip forward. Keep pressing down with the base of the left foot, the base of the big toe of the left foot. And maybe you can bring your hand down a little lower.
So in the book, in Light on Yoga, it says that this is a pose for hamstrings. So you have 3 hamstrings. I would say, if anything, this pose is for the inner hamstring back here. Press through your right foot. Inhale, come back up. Turn your toes to the front. Bring your hands on your hips. All right, botanasana. So if you use blocks for forward fold for this pose, get them. All right, take your hands to your hips, roll your shoulders back, turn your right leg all the way out, turn your left leg in. Turn your hips to the short side of your mat. Elbows back, lift your chest. Now, if you lift your chest enough, you're going to feel something happen in the back thigh because you're doing a back bend. So keep the back leg straight, elbows back, look up. Maybe even look back. Then keep this length in your chest, look forward, and fold forward. Bring your hands to the blocks of the floor. Roll your left hip forward, your right hip back. And you remember when we took, you can actually take your right hand onto the hip crease of the right leg and push it back. So this is the same thing we did in child's pose, the same thing we did in Supta Padangusthasana. It's moving that hip back. All right. So at some point, your abdomen comes down to your thigh. It may not be today. You might be thin enough that it may never happen. I doubt it, but it might be that way. Once your abdomen is on your thigh, you can move your chin toward your shin. If your chin hits, then you can take your forehead down. But don't round your back to bring the top of your head toward your shin. You want to lengthen your back. And when you lengthen your back, now this is not complete, this isn't convex or anything like that. This is definitely concave. But when you lengthen your back, you're getting a better stretch. And now we're kind of in the middle hamstring. We're not going to do Parivrtta Trikonasana, the revolved triangle, but that would be the outer hamstring. Or the, yeah, outer. Inhale, lift yourself up halfway. Put your hands on your hips, come all the way back up, look up, and then come to center. Turn your feet forward. Turn to your left. Elbows back, lift your chest. Press down with your right heel, keeping your right leg straight. Lift your chest, look up, possibly even looking back. Then come to the center and fold forward over your left leg. Now take your left hand to the hip crease, push that hip crease back. This is another way of saying take the front leg hip back, the back leg hip forward. In this case, the left hip back, the right hip forward. And then once your abdomen hits your thigh, reach your chin towards your shin. And if your chin hits, you can take your forehead to your shin. Keep
Keep lifting the back of the leg up. So from the left heel all the way to the buttock, it lifts up. Walk your hands forward, lift your chest. Bring your hands on your hips. Inhale, come up, lift your chest, look up, and come back to the center. Turn your feet forward. Bring your feet together. All right. If you have a blanket roll or something, we haven't really gotten into the calf a lot. So if you can use a blanket roll or a block, you can also do this against a wall. You can use a couch cushion. So you just want your front of your foot lifted, your heels on the ground. So there's that. You could use a part of a sticky mat. This isn't as high, it's a little easier. Yeah, you can see my feet. So the higher, the more difficult. All right. So keep your heels on the ground, put your toes on something taller, whatever that is. It can be even part of your sticky mat. You can roll part of your sticky mat down. And then fold forward. Pull yourself in. The feel, the stretch, most likely move to your calves. Some people have very flexible calves and they won't feel anything here. If you don't feel anything in your calves or you want to feel this differently, make sure to keep your heels down, but you can walk forward into a short dog or a long dog, but your heels cannot leave the floor. Otherwise it moves it. It's not the same stretch. It's not saying that it's wrong, it's just not the same stretch. And then walk your hands back. Come off the blanket or whatever you had and stand up. All right. So we're going back to botanasana, the pose we did before that one, except we're doing the full pose. So the full pose has the hands and, oh, I can almost do it. And Paschimottanasana, reverse Namaste. So like this. This is a big deal for me. Got my hands back like this. If this doesn't work for you, you can grab the opposite elbow or wrist. So pick one of those. So even this one will work. Let's see how it goes today. Not bad. All right. Take your feet apart. You can always jump. If your hands are behind your back in reverse namaskar, Paschimottanasana, then press your palms together. That takes your arm bones back. Then turn to your right. So the right leg turns all the way out, the left leg turns in. So same pose we just did a little while ago. Roll your shoulders back, press your hands into your back. Keep your big toe of your right foot pressing down, your left heel, and arch back. Then come up to center. Inhale with your exhalation, come forward.
Now to maintain your balance, it really takes some pressure downward of your right big toe. If your balance is really off, you can turn your back leg out. That'll give you less of a balance beam and more of a wider balance beam to balance on. Now press through your left heel. Inhale, come all the way up. Keep going, look up, possibly look back, and back to the center. Turn your feet forward. Second side. If you're holding your elbows, change the grip of your hands, or if you're holding the opposite hand, change the grip, and turn to your left. Left leg all the way out, right leg in quite a bit. Roll your shoulders back, press your hands into your back, lift your chest, look up, look possibly back, and then come back to the center. Press down strongly with your left big toe as you fold forward over your left leg. First botanasana, classic pose. And by classic, I mean the one in Light on Yoga. He actually puts his chin down on his shin at some point. Then pressing down with the left big toe, the right heel, inhale, come back up. Get to the standing up and then go back, little back bend, and back to the center. Turn your feet forward, slowly release your hands. All right, try not to shake them. So they were like this, meaning they were flexed this way. So take them this way. All right, just for a second, and then stretch them out. Okay, full arm balance. So if handstand is not something you do, you can do half handstand, which looks like this. Or if that's not in the cards today, you can do it this way. Or this way. Take one of those, or take a rest. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. That's it, Vera. Good job. Leanne, you can do Pincha Mayurasana if you want to do that. That goes for Marsha too. If been a lot on the wrist. Laura, press your hands into the wall, push your hips towards the center of the room. I like the use of the strap, Kathy with a K. It could be a little tighter. And put it on the elbow joint, not above. It's harder to keep on, but it's more useful. If you kick up easily, kick up with the other leg. That's better, Kathy with a K. Leanne, your right elbow is too far out. All right, come down. Let's see. Okay, we're going to skip headstand. Kneel up. All right. If you have tight hamstrings, you're going to need some blocks or something to put your hands on. Take your right leg forward like this. Flex your right foot. Come forward. Fold forward over your right leg. All right, walk your hands back in, lift yourself up, change legs. Flex your straight leg. And then fold forward over your straight leg. And then come back up. All right, we're going to use the wall again. Sometimes this is called King Arthur pose. So you're going to put one leg up the wall. Can you see that? So one leg, let me do it this way. One leg is up the wall like this in Virasana. And the other foot comes forward like this. You may not need blocks. I'm just showing with blocks so you can figure it out. I don't think you'll need a strap. All right, so you could use blocks and lean forward. It's a little easier on your back leg if you lean forward a little. After a while, it changes the pose. All right, and then you walk back and push the front leg into the floor until you're back into the towards the wall. And you'll feel a stretch down the front of your leg. So the front leg, again, thumb on the inside of the thigh, push that thigh down. Oh, I should have mentioned that, I forget since I'm on carpet right now, this can be hard on people's knees, so if you need a blanket, put it under your knee. All right. Then, if you've been there for a while, shift your hips forward. I'll move again. Like this. So again, it's a different kind of feeling in the back leg. Keep your torso upright, but shift your hips forward. Okay. Come out and change legs. So first, kind of in a weird marriage proposal position. I think that's why it's called King Arthur pose. And then upright. Thumb into your front leg hip crease, push it down. Push that hip down. Lift your chest. So for me, this is in the lower quad rather than the top of the hip. Or the front of the hip. Then if that's going well, or you've had enough of that one, really, lean forward. You want to keep your chest up, because if you're leaning forward like this, you're changing it. This is something different. So the chest stays up, but the legs lean forward. Moves to the front of the thigh, top of the thigh. More like Supta Virasana. All right, and come out. right, so we've done a lot of hamstring in front of the thigh poses. And it's coming towards the end of class. So I'm hoping that people that have been doing yoga for a while know what we're going for today. So stage one, get more in the light here, is the pose like this. All right. Then you can do that, fold over the front leg, perfectly happy. Stage two, have 2 blocks, possibly even 2 chairs, and lean forward a little bit, like this. Stay upright. Going forward in Hanumanasana, in splits pose, makes it easier. Or come down. Ta-da! All right. So find a position that's appropriate for you. Ta-da! Yeah. All right. Yes. Okay. So if you're on the floor, you get an extra. You take your hands off the floor and bring them up. That's it. All right, lift yourself back up. Ooh, haven't done that in a long time. Other leg. So find the appropriate level for your flexibility. You know, Hanumanasana is a impressive looking pose, but it's all about flexibility. There's some strength involved, mostly with lifting the chest, but if you've been working on your strength or working on your flexibility, then it's a kind of a fun milestone. But if you've always been able to do it, I haven't always been able to do it, but then it's less of a, it doesn't feel as spectacular, I should say. And my hips are a little turned. Mine isn't great. So my front hip is coming forward, my back hip's going back. All right, come back up. One more attempt each side because it's a little easier the second time. Right leg forward. And come down. Whatever down is for you. So it could be here. You could have, some people do it like this. That's another option, so you can be upright. The back leg is bent for me if I do it like this. Many of you will feel that this is not a hamstring pose, because almost all of you can do Uttanasana like this. And this is the same positioning of the hamstring, just about as this. It's a front of the thigh pose. It's a psoas pose. All right, switch sides. So again, you can have a brick underneath your front leg. That'll keep you upright a little better. You don't want to use your arms the whole time. You just come down. That's great. You guys are really low. Great. All right, lift yourself back up. Downward facing dog. Should feel like a piece of cake at this point. Cake. One of the issues of traveling to new places is that there are new bakeries
that needed to be tried. I need to be careful.
All right, come down, lie on your back. You can have a block nearby or do it without a block. So bring your heels in close to your hips. Bring your arms alongside your hips. Roll your shoulders under. Press your heels into the ground. Lift your hips up. And then you can interlock your hands behind your hips, rolling your shoulders under more, and pressing your heels into the floor. Now, if this gets tiring, be here a minute or two. Take a block, place it under your hips, and like this. The fronts of your thighs should be well stretched. This pose should feel a little easier than normal. I mean, you might be tired in the muscles, but the flexibility should be a little easier. Change the interlock of your hands if your hands are interlocked. Press your heels down, lift the backs of your hips up. Press down with the big toe side of your foot to keep your knees parallel to each other. Soften your throat. And then slowly lower your hips to the floor. Be there for a moment. Roll to your side. And sit up. If you are somebody that feels like they haven't done yoga without a shoulder stand, now's the time to do shoulder stand. We're going to work on other forward bends. So I'm just letting you that sit out there. The first pose we're going to do is Trianga Mukha Ekapada Paschimottanasana, meaning that one leg is in Virasana and one leg is straight. So for me, in order to be even in the hips, I have to sit on a block on my straight leg.
So are we doing the shoulder stand or we're not?
Well, I'm not teaching the shoulder stand, but if you need shoulder stand to feel like you've had a yoga practice, I'll be doing shoulder stand after class.
Okay.
but if you don't need shoulder stand, then go ahead and join us here. I think everyone is okay without doing shoulder stand, maybe. All right. So bent leg, thumb into the inside of the thigh, push it down. All right. Other leg is straight, press the thigh down. Laura, can you move your bent knee towards the straight leg a little? Yes, much better, much better. Okay. Lift your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Hold on to your foot or your leg. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold over your straight leg. Trianga, 3 angled. Mukha facing. Trianga Mukha Eka 1. Pada foot. Paschimottanasana. Trianga Mukha Ekapada Paschimottanasana, extension of the western side. So it's a mouthful in English, it's a mouthful in Sanskrit. One leg in Virasana, one leg in Dandasana, bend forward. All right, inhale, lift your chest. And your next inhalation, lift back up. While we're here, bend the straight leg. Crunchasana. Heron pose. Grab hold of your foot. Lift your leg up. I'm just showing you what it looks like. My arm's not in the way. But you can hold it with both hands. Both hands, sorry. I was trying to show like how the foot looks without this arm in the way, but you're holding it with both hands. Squeeze it in, lift your chest. If this isn't possible, you can do this. All right. And this is stage 2. This is stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. All right. There's a stage 4. And actually, stage 4, so the leg that's up in the air, that hand comes around and grabs the opposite wrist. Like this. But yeah, whatever. Did you need to, does anyone need to see that hand grab again? Yes, okay. Let me show from this angle. All right, so the foot's up and the same leg, hand. In this case, this is my right hand. I wrap around the foot like this, all right? And then that grabs the one with the watch, the other hand. So it's this. So I'm grabbing my wrist and then straightening up. Or not. All right. Stretch both legs out. Go to the other side. One leg in Virasana, one leg in Dandasana. Trianga Mukha Ekapada Paschimottanasana. I just like saying that. Take your hand on the hip, push it down. So you're pushing down, but you're also kind of turning out. And the knees line up. So they don't have to be all the way touching, but at least in line with the thighs. A lot of that has to do with the size of your hips and stuff, whether or not your legs are together or apart. All right, inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Grab a hold, pull yourself in. Inhale, come back up. Oh, I didn't do it in stages. Oh, well. Bend the straight leg. Stage 1, hold on to the knee, lift your chest. Stage 2, hold on to the foot with both hands. Pull your knee in, lift your chest. Yeah, or with a strap, that works. Stage 3 is to straighten the leg. Stage 4 is to pull your leg in towards your head and your head towards your leg. And then stage 5 is to grab the wrist and pull in. Crunchasana means heron, like great blue heron, great egret. I don't know what kind of herons they have in India, so. All right. Bend your knee, release that leg down. Both legs forward, Dandasana. Lift your arms, press your thighs down, exhale, fold over your legs. Paschimottanasana, extension of the western side. So just regular old Paschimottanasana. Press your thighs down. And release. Inhale, come up. Lie back for Shavasana. So bend your knees. Lie down. See how your back feels. Because actually forward bends, they sometimes feel better on the back, but a lot of times they're harder on the back. Depends on what's going on with your back. So just being in a neutral position with your knees bent is perfectly okay, Shavasana, or you can take your legs out straight and have Shavasana that way. Press the weight of your body into the floor. Soften your neck and throat. Release your jaw. Rest your tongue into the base of your mouth. And use the next few moments to focus on your breath. Deepen your breath. Bend your knees. Support your head as you roll to your side. Roll a little further to your side and lift yourself back up to seated. Take your arms wide, lift your chest. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Think of something you're grateful for. Namaste. Thank you all for participating.